like the Socratic method, right? You just ask them something like, uh, "Would you think it ethical to eat a dog?" or
Mm.
something like this, and then you ask them question. You try your darndest because it can be hard sometimes, but you try your darndest to ask questions that keep them open and not defensive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not. I'm a big fan of the Socratic method, and I'm also a big fan, actually, of the dog activism. I think, like, I've heard some pushback in recent times regarding the effectiveness of this, like from vegans, like, we don't need to get so simple in our outreach, where we can. I've heard it suggested that we can kind of like be philosophically kind of a level at a level where we're not bringing dogs into the picture, but I think it's amazing because we have laws protecting dogs from being beaten or being hurt and things like that, being abused, and yet we don't. We literally condone and sanction um, mass slaughtering and holocausting of billions or if not trillions of other animals. So it really, I think it does kind of like symmetry break the whole like human and non-human thing, and it kind of bypasses that whole like born in God's image and has a soul kind of attribution
Yeah.
that people give to humans.
Well, something I like about it is it's basically either if you're talking about Peter Singer, it's the marginal cases, or it's very similar to like the name the trait,
Mhm.
where it doesn't really matter what moral framework you hold. Like we're asking you questions based on your view. We're not trying to like force our view. We're asking
Right.
questions about your view and seeing if it's consistent. And most of the times, it's not consistent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think, yeah, like you said, I think it can get like the marginal case thing that you mentioned. I think that can get very into sticky territory because people can just say, well, um, I'm referring to, when they do the name the trait thing, they say, well, I'm referring to the prototypical human being or something like that, or I'm referring to like an 80%, 85% kind of like mean of human beings or something like that. They can say like, I'm referring the trait that I think humans have that non-human animals don't have, which makes humans worthy of moral consideration, is this trait of the average intelligence of a human or something like that. So I think the marginal case thing is kind of wrought with a little bit of difficulty, but I think that the dog thing just makes it, it breaks that species um, symmetry breaker, or the equalizer rather, as a symmetry breaker.
yeah, I mean, I think there's hypotheticals you can do with the name the trait that doesn't get into those issues. But I do agree absolutely that using a dog as an example rather than a human tends to be better because people don't have such as big of a separation, mental separation between human and animal, where they can compare a dog to a pig a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that it is the case that you can come up with different kind of delineations when naming a trait, or you can come up with a certain trait stack or something like that, where you can kind of get around certain, um, I guess, symmetry breakers. But at the same time, like, I don't know. So I've heard so many name the trait arguments that it's just like at this point, it's kind of like one of those things where I mean, I still use it selectively, but it tends to just orient me sideways from like that goal of like,
Yeah,
um, it's just kind of like, but why, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
it seems like you have to like, argue for name the trait more than you have to argue for uh, the actual issue. Yeah.
That's yeah, that's really, that's